Today, we are reading another anonymous anxiety story.
In this story, we talk about a motorbike accident and how physical pain can lead to anxiety.
We would love to hear from you about your anxiety stories. You can do this anonymously, or you can come on the podcast to chat. All the information is in the description of wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Okay. When I was younger, 26 to be precise, I got into a motorcycle accident. I had met this guy who had a really cool bike. I would always ask to go for rides, even though everyone around me disliked them. My mother hated them and thought bikes were accidents waiting to happen. And I have to say, she was kind of right. One night, I went to a party with my friends, and bike guy showed up. If you're thinking that he got drunk and crashed his bike, you're wrong. He actually stayed sober the entire night. I, on the other hand, had a few drinks and was a little too drunk. Although I usually hold my alcohol pretty well, that night I got really stupid. I don't know what it was. Maybe that I liked him and I was too flirty, or that I simply wanted to do something silly at that moment. I begged him for a ride. He said it would be better for me to get home with my friends and that maybe some other time we would go. Silly me kept begging, and I bet I got a little annoying. After a little while, he agreed and off we went. The first 10 minutes were fun. I remember feeling really good, carefree. I was having fun, we both were, until someone skipped a red light and hit us. Bad. I woke up covered in blood and saw my friend calling an ambulance. He looked okay, except for the blood in his head. Me, on the other hand, I could feel warm liquid in my head and legs. I was wearing a helmet, so my concussion wasn't too bad, but my knees took the bigger impact. I had fractured my legs in 3 different places. I needed surgery and lots of therapy. Let me just say that the post-surgery recovery was so painful that all kinds of crazy thoughts crossed my mind for a while. Pain turned me into a different person. I was happy and turned into an angry person. After a while, most of my injuries got better, except for the one close to my knee.
I realised that walking made it painful. I would feel a sharp pain every time I'd take a step. My doctor told me that it was something related to my fracture and that it would take time and patience to heal. During that time, I wanted to die, quite literally. The pain was so unbearable that I noticed I was starting to become addicted to painkillers. I couldn't sleep at night, and I started resenting everyone, my friends, my siblings, and even my parents. Why? Why were they able to run, jump, walk? Why did I have to feel this physical pain so bad it made me want to kill someone? I know this is really bad to say, but that's what I felt every day for a while. I'm not proud to say this, but every night I would romanticize about how I would take a pill and be numbed from the pain, fall asleep, and never wake up. I got depressed and my anxiety levels peaked. I would wake at night with sharp pain in my stomach, desperately thinking I would never walk properly again. I would have nightmares where my entire body would feel pain and I would try to cut my own legs. I started developing fear of walking. I would feel my heart beat so fast every time I had to stand up and take a step. And before even putting my foot on the ground, I'd prepare myself to feel pain. My life turned into just pain, bad physical pain. I started watching Dr. House during my recovery and identified with him a lot. I understood why he hated everybody and why he got addicted to Vicodin. My friends had stopped visiting me because of how bad I treated them. My mum would cry for me and I would get angrier because what could be more painful than being the one that is feeling the pain? I became selfish and narcissistic. I didn't care about the rest. All I cared and thought about was my pain. I wish I could say that there was a happy ending. I guess it's not really that kind of story. I'm still in the process of dealing with that trauma, with the post-depression and the many ruined relationships. Although most people have forgiven me and I have started to go to therapy for my mind, it's not quite the same. I feel like I lost so much after many years, 4 to be exact. I feel like I have a long way to go to feel like myself again. I can't help to feel guilty for pushing too hard that night, for refusing to go home, for making it about me. I put someone's life in danger and mine too, and I truly wish I could go back, but I guess I have to just do what my mum says. I have to keep moving forward. What a story.
I mean, I don't love the story, but
Yeah.
I love the ending. I love how you read it too.
Mm.
Honestly, it's
Thank
kind
you.
of like a sweet and sour story because
Yeah.
I feel like it's a sweet and sour story because it's like she presents the story as it is painful, dark, but then there's like a silver lining at the end, you know?
100%. And I think actually it's so incredibly brave that she has admitted all of this. Like, I feel like I'm the kind of person that's so bad at admitting my flaws as a person, and it's not healthy and not good. But I find it really hard to say certain things, and for her to say like I was the person that was pushing people away and treating people badly and completely admitting that, I think that shows what an amazing person she is.
Yeah. I feel like maybe also therapy helped a lot. I can
Mm,
only imagine, how much she internalized all of this. And like maybe during the process of going through therapy and everything, like maybe there were things she couldn't say and had to like
yeah,
maybe like pretend everything was fine, or how you sometimes you go like, oh, I'm
yeah,
fine, it's okay, but like you're building all that
yeah.
inside of you and it kind of eats you alive.
100%. And I think when you have an injury like that, it all of your days become quite similar. Like I had a friend that went through a very similar experience and almost lost her leg and was injured very badly, and
Mm.
it just seemed like all her days turned quite similar because there was limited things that she was able to do. And
Yeah.
it must be so hard to go from being able to doing everything to not, to being so limited and in so much pain.
I feel like it's already painful enough to not be able to go back to your routine, like if you work out, if
Hmm.
you like to go for walks, if you pretty much
Yeah,
anything that we do, we use our limbs for that, so it has to be already
yeah.
painful enough. But it's even worse that you can, but you do it and you feel pain,
Hmm.
like, and the nightmare
Oh
that
yeah,
she had where she was cutting her legs, like who has that, like I can't imagine how bad
yeah,
mentally, she was feeling, that you're picturing that, you're dreaming about that.
yeah. Which is something I don't know what it's like in Peru, but here, I mean, I've never been in a situation where I've been injured in that way before, but I know people that have been, and I think a lot of the focus is on like physiotherapy and training somebody to use their leg again, rather than, oh, this must mentally be very difficult, and so, you know, how do we help this person mentally recover from this too? I think a lot of a lot of doctors and stuff over here anyway like to deal with the problems that they can visibly see. So if they can visibly see scars on her leg, they'll want to deal with that and then forget, because they can't see her brain, that that also needs
Yeah,
care.
it's so interesting what you just said, because I think it's the same here. They see something broken, and of course they want to fix that, but in the process, yeah, we're not really thinking, okay, how is she, how is he mentally, like even
Yeah.
taking medicine, um I've never been in a position like this person either, but like something simple for me that I could maybe relate to is taking, when I was on birth control for my hormones, I would like get so sick from the pill. And I would tell my
Yeah.
doctor, and he would be like, all right, we'll try with this A, with this pill, and or we'll try B or C. And like he would give me like other kinds of pills that were supposed to have like other dosages and like may have less or create less effects, but it would still be horrible for me. Like I would feel
Mm.
nauseous, I will feel cranky every day, like, and just to be in that state of mind and be like, why can I not get out of this, you know and for
Yeah.
doctors it's like black or white. Oh, take the pill, do this, follow the instructions, but
Hmm.
like you don't think about what is it's doing to me, mentally. It's crazy.
Yeah. Which is just as important. It's the same amount of importance, if not probably more important, how you mentally feel, because that's you, isn't it? Like how you mentally feel is more you
Hmm.
than anything else. And I do relate a lot to this story in terms of like I have agoraphobia, which means I find it really hard to leave like my small town, and when I do I tend to have panic attacks. So when she said like I developed a fear of walking, it kind of related. I've kind of felt like, oh, I feel like I've developed a fear of outside, like, and I'm getting better and stuff,
Hmm.
but it's taken many years, many years. Um, and yeah, I think
Yeah.
one of the biggest things is comparison. Like, and it sounds like when she was saying to her mum, like, it's just so frustrating that they can jump, they can walk, they can run, they can do whatever they want, and I'm sat here and I can't do anything. And like I've totally felt that way. I've been like, that person can go on holiday and they can do this and they can do that and they can go out with their friends, and I can't do any of that. And I
Mm,
don't know what that's like in terms of like feeling the physical pain, but it has felt like I feel nauseous every time I leave my small town. And so it feels like an allergy. Like, but the only thing that helped me really was like,
mm.
I think getting so super comfortable with myself, which takes a while, um, and doing things I
Mhm.
enjoy that aren't outside. But I know that can also be difficult, especially with her saying that she's kind of pushed a lot of her friends away. That sounds like it's more tricky when you can't have people around.
You know, to be in a position where you compare yourself to your beloved ones and you genuinely feel that jealousy, that, and like you said, you have to be really brave to admit that. Like, I am jealous
Yeah.
of my mother, of my sister, of whoever is able to do that I cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I feel sometimes for people that are brave enough to admit that, because yes, a lot of, like you just said, a lot of times there are things that you want to
Mm-hmm.
do but you can't, and that resentment definitely damages relationships, like the
Mm-hmm.
part where she says, like, my mom would cry, and from what I understand, she would cry for her, like, my daughter is sick, she feels this and that,
Yeah.
but she couldn't even connect with that because she was like, why are you crying? What is more painful
Yeah.
than me feeling the pain? And that's why she says
Yeah.
I became narcissistic, because it's like I
Yeah.
cannot get out of my own head, that's
I
so
think as
that's
well,
so
like if
sad. It definitely is sad.
it is, and I think if it's also like a very uh, understandable reaction to what she's gone through, is that her world has suddenly overnight become so much smaller that of course that she would get in her
Hmm.
own head and be more selfish, because all she can think about is the agony
Hmm.
pain that she's experiencing. And I imagine looking on social media and things and people going on holidays and going to work and being able to walk, and she can't relate to those things. And like I think if this person is listening, that's a very understandable reaction to what you've gone through, and I think most of us would feel that way.
Yeah, I think social media is wonderful, but at the same time, how I think about how bad it must suck for, like, for regular people it already sucks because you're having a bad day, you go on social media and you see somebody having like perfect vacation in Italy or France,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like,
Yep.
"Ugh." You can't help but to
What
compare
am I
yourself.
doing?
Yeah, exactly. And it has to be even worse when you're physically unable to, mentally you're
Mm.
drained, you feel pain, you cannot even think about other things than pain. Like, I can't imagine what it's like for a person right now in this present moment, to go through that battle against that and have social media, like, I think I would delete
Mm-hmm.
everything and just focus on myself, because I can't imagine dealing with that. That would like completely
No.
depress me, I think. I don't know. I meant to ask
A
you,
hundred
like, do you
percent.
ever feel that, like, when you see
Mm.
pictures, videos of people like traveling, for example, like, do you feel that, like, anxiety or jealousy or, resentment?
Yeah. I think it would surprise somebody to know how often I think about what I can't do. I think every 3 minutes I think about something I can't do. And I've realized that more recently. Like, I'm not
Mm,
just happily living my life in my small town, I'm constantly thinking about what I can't do and what other people can do, and how I'm different and how it's not fair and all these kinds of things. And it sounds hard to talk about because I, uh, again, maybe I feel like I'm being narcissistic or something when I think about these things, and it's so silly. But
hmm.
I think that's why people with anxiety really struggle to talk about their anxiety, because they're more aware of sounding a certain way or worrying about the attention being on them or not being there for other people. But which is why we do this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do often kind of think, you know, there's so many things that I'd really like to do. But also on the other hand, I've been dealing with this for a very long time, and there's a lot of things that I really bring me a lot of joy that I can do. And I think certain days I just need to put the battle down and paint or
Mm-hmm.
you know, spend time with my friends or go to the beach. You know, there's so many blessings that I sometimes feel like, you know,
Yeah.
it could be much worse, and just to count my blessings.
I love that. I love that because, yes, it definitely sucks. And it must suck for every other person that
Mhm.
has some type of limitation or, problem. But
Mhm.
then you think about the kinds of issues that other people are battling against, and you're like, okay, well,
Mhm.
that puts things into perspective.
Yeah,
Like,
it does.
I cannot do this, but is it the end of the world if I don't do it? Like,
Yeah.
at least I have my friends, my house, I have food in my table, I have a roof, like,
Mhm.
it definitely, when you think about other things, other people, it puts things into perspective. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I love how, I don't know if you feel that, but when you feel anxiety or you've gone through depression or you've done it, like, you can feel for the other person. Like, it's easier to feel compassionate about the other person and be like, I get why you're narcissistic. I would be too, because
hundred
when
percent.
I was depressed, I couldn't get out of my head. I didn't care about a soul.
Mhm.
I All I thought about was my depression. That was it. So I get that.
100%. It is actually
Yeah.
a bit of a gift sometimes, like being somebody that's more sensitive or somebody with mental health problems, I think automatically makes you, not all the time, obviously, there's some people that don't, but most of the time makes you more empathetic towards people, even if you have no idea what they're going through, like you've never experienced it, you can relate to them more. I think that's what we all need a bit more of. And like, I think, you know, I'm in a privileged position in many ways, so gratitude's easy for me. And for some people, gratitude might not be a something that they can do right now, which is also completely fine. But gratitude does really help.
Mhm.
Like I do feel that. Like in
Mhm.
I just I really do. Like even for the tiniest little things. And also if you know, writing gratitude lists right now for you sounds like the worst idea in the world, then don't do it. But sometimes it's just nice to remind yourself of things that you do have.
You just gotta try little things, different things, and like,
Exactly.
there will be something that will click for you. You
Mm-hmm.
just reminded me of this movie. Have you seen Split with this guy? What's his name?
I have.
McAvoy, I think it's his last name.
Yes, McAvoy. James McAvoy.
Yeah, okay. So, at the end, when he actually has killed everybody and he just has the girl, forgot her name in the movie, and
Mm-hmm.
like she has her shirt ripped, and she's in the cage, and he's about to kill her, but he notices all the scars she has, and like comes to the conclusion, I guess, in seconds, that she's also been a victim and she's been abused and all of that. And like, he
Mm.
leaves her alone and he says something like, you should rejoice that you're pure, that you have experienced things. I don't know. That was when I
Mm-hmm.
saw that movie, which is years now ago. I was crying. I was like,
Mm.
I don't know why it touched me so bad, because it was like, I guess you could call people pure, people that have gone through the worst and are still going. Like, how are you still
Yeah.
going? Sometimes you learn stories, things that happen to people, and you look at them and you're like,
Mm.
you're brave, like to live like your
Yeah.
life and move forward. Like she says at the end of the story, you just gotta keep moving forward.
Yeah. a hundred
So
percent. And I
yeah, you
think
reminded me
every
of that.
single yeah, I also really love that movie and that actor. They are both really good. But I think every single
Hmm.
person that has ever experienced especially like more severe anxiety, is so brave, because it really would be easier for us all to just stay in bed and not get out, because that's that feels like the only way out at certain times. But the fact that people
Yeah.
leave their house and get up and go to work and do all these different things, it's really, and if you're not there yet, that's also okay, but it's really incredible. Like this story, for example, that we've just read, all of that has happened to her
Mhm.
and she's still going. And it's just like, that is an
Mhm.
unbelievable level of bravery, isn't it, really?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just depression, getting up every morning and doing the most simple tasks can be difficult for somebody who's like really depressed. And so,
Hmm.
it makes you a brave person to, after all those things, you're thinking about, after all those temptations of not getting up, of, even thinking suicide, um, after
Hmm.
all of that, you decide to, all right, I'll get up, and like
Yeah,
do one thing. And if you do one thing a day, that's like enough. Because I was there,
of
and
course.
I remember
Yeah,
like getting out of my bed was it was like a big step for me, And then it started with things like
yeah,
that and little things that I could do every day. And to me, that's, for somebody to get out of that state, it's like, wow, you did that, because it's
yeah,
sometimes people that have never experienced depression or anxiety or any other, condition, they'll say, because I've been told that, just get up in the morning, just try to be positive, breathe the air, drink some coffee, have some water, and I'm like, you don't get it. You really don't, and it's hard. I get that, you never had to go through that. Lucky you, lucky you. But
hmm,
when you are in the person's shoes, when you're feeling that, it's such a it could be sunny outside, beautiful day, but your world, it's
oh
like
yeah,
in Stranger Things, the upside down, it's like dark. you know
yeah. And can I just mirror that back to you, that you are also a person that has struggled with anxiety, depression, and look at you, Queen.
yeah. Thank you. Oh my god,
Like,
I've crossed that bridge, like so
you have,
happy.
and well
I
done.
still struggle with anxiety,
And
but
it's,
thank you,
of
appreciate it.
course, but it shows that it's possible. Like, it is possible to recover from these things. Like, it might not be easy and it might take a
Hmm.
really long time, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's completely fine. Nobody has to rush you. Nobody, there's no time frame for that. Like you have to be out of it in like 1 year,
Yeah.
2 years. Like, oh, Emily, you have to be able to, get over your condition. Like, I don't know, this time frame. No, like you can never tell anybody how long it should take them.
Yeah. No, that makes
And
them
it's
worse.
okay if you relapse, if it comes back. Like it's always gonna be
Yes.
that, you're gonna be dancing on your tippy toes and exploring
Yeah.
life like that, and that's fine. That's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah. You're not the only one. You're not alone. There's lots of people that are also dancing on their tippy toes. That's a really nice phrase, Gabby.
I know. I'm full of phrases now.
I like it. Makes us feel like we're all
Yeah.
ballerinas.
I know, I thought about that too, Malicious. Which I guess gives it a little bit of sparkle.
Well, this was a lovely
I
episode.
love that. Mm-hmm. I love the story. Like I said, at the beginning, it was like it seems dark, and it definitely is in parts. But at the end, I
Hmm.
love that there's like a silver lining. Like the movie.
There
There's a
really
silver
is,
lining. There, you're gonna keep moving forward.
for
Well,
sure.
I'm excited for our next story on Saturday, right?
Yeah, we're recording our next story
I'm excited to
very
read more
soon.
stories.
Yeah, me too. We've got a good
I
story
am
coming up.
definitely excited.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to today's podcast. If you would like to come on and chat to us about your anxiety or send an anonymous story for us to read out, then we would love that so much. All the details are in the description for you to get in touch with us.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.